Hi everybody, welcome to this Pro and Expert Division General playthrough for the Quail Hollow course. It's the North Carolina 9-hole cup that we're going to be playing here on the channel. Please give me a thumb up on the video and make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well. Totally free to do so, and a very warm welcome if you are new here. We're going to look at each of the 9 holes in turn with some possible routes and shots you might want to play. Bear in mind these are general wind conditions and you will need to tweak the elevations and adjustments and spins according to what wind directions you'll have in the tournament itself. Please check the channel for expert qualifying and final round guide videos. They will be up on Thursday and Saturday. Here we go, let's get started with hole number 1. Hole number 1, par 3, and there are a couple of ways to play this hole. We're going to show you a bounce over and then a rough bump. So starting with the bounce over, from second tee in tailwind, we're going to play near to max distance with the Grizzly. It is max power 3 with the Grizzly 7 or 8. It will be from +5 with the Grizzly level 9. I'm going with 1 backspin and 3 left spin in this wind angle. So 1 backspin, 3 left spin and aiming at the pin. Then we adjust maximum distance 20% elevation. Now in any form of headwind we'll be playing further up towards the rough, bouncing over with the sniper. You can find a minimum distance line there which is very handy to adjust from. So depending on what wind angle you have, if it's tailwind or headwind, it's going to be either the Grizzly or the sniper if you want to play the bounce over shot. So max +20 here in this wind angle with the Grizzly, and that drops right at pin for the hole in 1. Now, for the more aggressive and premium ball players, the rough bump, excellent chance for a hole in 1. We're going to look at that now. Because of the tree, we can't set up anywhere in a position that enables us to use a side spin 3 ball. So it's actually going to have to be a side spin 5 ball. 1 backspin, 5 bars of side spin to the left, because then the ball guide isn't going to be clipped away by the tree. We've got plenty of room to adjust. Top of the yellow ring touching the rough line, ball guide to the pin, and the adjustment is medium distance 10% negative elevation, so mid -10. I have the ball guide a little bit through the hole actually here, and that's because I'm adjusting down into the bunker, so the loss of distance on the shot is kind of factored in the way I'm setting that up. If you adjust deeper into the bunker you'd lose a bit more distance, might need just to tweak the aim or have a little less backspin. But the rough bump there with the side spin 5 ball, excellent opportunity for a hole in 1. 2 options on hole number 2 as well. The first one, the more general layup and short iron or long iron approach, depending the wind angle, and the second one is going to be the aggressive one, really more for players up in expert with APOC 5 and above. So for the safe option here, going with the extra mile and a Titan, and we're going to go with 4.5 top spin and 2 bars side spin to the left. I'm limiting myself to 4.5 top spin because I want to show that this can be done with an extra mile as low as level 6. +14 is the start point with extra mile 8. It will be at max distance if you've got extra mile 6 or 7. The adjustment here is maximum distance, 10% elevation, and just so I can gain a bit more distance, I push up to my starting plus yards. So +14, I'm then going to push back up to +14 again, just to demonstrate that this can be done with an extra mile 6 and above. Half a ball of curl to the left, and the reason I push up, I want to get a few more yards and play the second shot at max distance of the short iron, because it's an easier drop that way. It's still absolutely attainable with a long iron, but it's always nicer if we can use our short iron for an eagle if we can. 369 yards on the drive. Second shot then, as I said, we're going to play with the short iron, the Thorn, and I'm right at maximum distance here. We don't need much top spin either, so this is good even for lower level clubs. 0.3 top spin, ball guide to the pin, and I'm absolutely at max distance of club here. Don't need to land any closer to the edge of the rough here because you can see the ball guide is taking me very nicely to the pin. Maximum distance, because we're at max distance of club, 0 elevation, but the adjustment is using power 2 settings. I know we're using a power 3 ball, but I found that power 2 numbers here gives me the right amount of rings, and we're going to drop this one beautifully for an eagle. Bounces in the rough. Great left safe, great right safe, and we fall very nicely there for an eagle. So brilliant opportunities on this par 4. Now onto the aggressive option for APOC 5 and above. This is with a Berserker or another Power 5 ball. Nice wind angle here. If we get this in the tournament, we're going to have to go for the green or close to the green. 5.8 top spin and 2 bars side spin to the left, setting up at max distance. The ball guide is pointing to the left edge of the nearest bunker up ahead. Then we adjust maximum distance 10% elevation. And once I've done that, I'm going to then push up to max distance of club. So this would be APOC 5 and above. APOC 4, you might need a topspin boost ball. Topspin could vary here depending on the wind strength that we get, and it will need to be tweaked according to wind angles as well. But we're going full left curl and just before the circle starts to drop. So a few clicks of overpower. As you know, I don't use grids, so that's my reference. Perfect ball approaches the rough very nicely. There is a chance to be even more aggressive, setting up further to the left and going with more topspin or topspin boost. Try and roll through the rough and get onto the green that way. But even from where I was in the video there, simple wedge there, going to be around 50 to 60% slider, end bringer school, no spin, 20% elevation. Hole number 3 is the longest par 5. In fact, the longest hole we've got so far in the game of Golf Clash. From second tee, it is 762 yards. It's very difficult to reach the green into in anything other than predominantly tailwind. Showing you a tailwind example here, though, with the extra mile 8. You can also go with the APOC 4 and above. Extra mile 7 may struggle here, though. 6 bars of topspin. Thor's Hammer is another good choice, but we want topspin and distance. I tested with the big topper level 5 against the extra mile level 8. Extra mile 8 goes further. We adjust max plus 10, 6 topspin, aim down the middle of the fairway. If anything, just favour the right hand side because there's more chance of getting an extra glitch roll, which will take you about another 20 or 30 yards. Max plus 10, push up to max and full overpower. Great left here, a minor 1, and a minor great right, both going to be absolutely fine because we've plenty of fairway to aim at on this one. Drive distance, you want to be over 450. If you get the glitch roll, you're going to be about 470 to 480. Second shot, Big Dog or Cataclysm is the order of the day, and I'm going with 4.2 top spin, add spin first, and stretch out into overpower and see the second bounce just beyond the rough. That is because the tailwind will push us further than the ball guide is indicating. So I looked at how many rings I was stretching out to find that position. I adjust first max plus 5, so maximum distance, 5% elevation, power 5 settings. You really need a Berserker here in any wind angle to try and get your eagle. Power 3 ball just isn't going to cut it because the hole is so long. Once I've adjusted, I push up the amount of rings I was stretching out into to find that aim point, and then we hit perfect. There is a chance of an albatross here. It's going to be a bit of a remote one, but the green's nice and flat. There is, like I say, a chance it will drop. We get a zoom in here, just missing around a cup to the left, but the primary objective is just to get to green on this very long par 5, so you're tapping in for the eagle. Here is an eagle on hole number 4. Going to play with a power 3 ball and the extra mile level 7 and above. 4.5 top spin, 2 bars side spin to the right. Obviously, the APOC will work here as well if you don't want to use the extra mile. Setting up at plus 12 with the extra mile 8 because there's a little bit of headwind angle. So I want to make sure I've got room to adjust without going too far into overpower. I would set up at max with extra mile 6 or 7. Adjusting into overpower, I'm adding 1 ring on and going with 0.8 ball curl to the right. So that's the left edge of the ball touching the inside wall of the adjustment ring on the right hand side. And max plus 10 was the adjustment, hitting perfect here without too much overpower at all, only a couple of rings. And we get a nice roll out here, setting ourselves up very nicely for the eagle attempt. Drive distance, 359 yards. Now, this one can be a little bit tricky in wind from left to right because you're always going to be adjusting down quite a steep slope. I do a fringe check just for club reference there. Plus 4, which may be useful to you, is going to be played mid-distance minus 15% elevation. That is because, like I said, we're adjusting down the slope. Added my spin, top spin and right spin, and then I find the last part of the rough where the ball guide gets clipped away and we get the ball guide through the hole. Just modifying the top spin slightly, going to 3.1 or 3.2 bars. The reason I set up so close to the rough is because when I adjust downhill here, it's going to lose me distance on my landing position. So rather than set up where I actually want to land and then have to push up rings after my adjustment, and that would cost time, of course, and maybe accuracy, I factor it into the beginning of my shot structure. So medium distance, minus 15% elevation, catches the rough very nicely. A great right may not be safe though, so please be advised about that. Glances the pin and falls beautifully for an eagle. Hole in one here on hole number 5, an excellent opportunity indeed. Any form of headwind, even though if it's only a slight headwind angle, we can play a rough bump, which is what I'm doing here. At the minimum power 3 line, red ring touching the bunker. So find your position first. Minimum power 3 line, then red ring touching the bunker. Then we're going to add spin, and it's going to be around 2.5 left spin, but that's why we're always going to add spin after finding position, because it's a difficult amount and it's easier just to add spin and get the ball guide to the back of the cup. So that's my setup on this one. Then the adjustment is minimum distance, 5% elevation, power 2 numbers. I'm also using sniper 10 numbers for reference here, and indeed any shot in this playthrough where I'm using sniper 9, I'm always using sniper 10 numbers. Then this one is going to fall nicely for a hole in one. Any form of tailwind, you're going to be in between clubs with the Grizzly for a rough bump, so I would suggest if you want a rough bump, go with the Goliath. But of course, if you want to use the Grizzly and you're worried about a rough bump, then just play a bounce down shot instead, bouncing on the fairway as normal. So a good few options there to consider on hole number 5, but a brilliant opportunity for a hole in one. On to the 6th hole. If we have some tailwind angle, this one is actually going to be a good chance for a drop, even though it looks like a long way to the green from around the corner of the dog leg. Going with the APOC here, and in the end I decide to set up at plus 10, and that's to show you that this shot can be done with the Apocalypse level 4. So I'm going to back up to plus 10, and I'll just change the spins accordingly as well. Any form of headwind, this is going to be tricky, and I would be packing the big dog or the Cataclysm just to get to green for the safe eagle. But there is a chance for an albatross if we have a nice favourable wind angle. 5.8 topspin, 3 bars side spin to the left. Would be at max distance with APOC 4, but it's at plus 10 with 5 and above. Then we are going to adjust, and in the end I adjust the correct amount of rings, which is max plus 10, and then I'm going with 1 ball of curl to the left, just looking at the point where the circle is about to drop, so it's just before that moment. If you're using grids, they would be classing that as a few clicks of overpower. But that's my reference here, and we get a good distance on the drive. We're not threatening the rough. It is uphill slightly there to the right of the screen, so you're not really going to roll long. 362 yards. Second shot we can bounce over with the sniper. I like to use 3 bars of right spin because that takes most of the bunker out of the equation with this long second bounce. Then I'm adding top spin with my side spin, having the ball guide pointing towards the pin, but it is stopping a couple of squares short because we have tailwind, which will give us an extended path on the ball rather than what is shown. Playing true club distance, 5% elevation. So with the sniper you get plus 12 yards with a power 3. I'm 6 yards away from max. It is 2.5% slider per yard. So this one is then going to be played 85% slider, 5% elevation. Unfortunately, I didn't line the shot up very well here, which is a shame because there is a little sticky spot on this second bounce and there is a nice route to the pin. I was just offline, but the speed was absolutely fantastic. So if I'd just lined up the shot a bit better, that would have been in for an albatross. A lengthy par 4 this one, but still absolutely attainable for a shot at the eagle. We have a little bit of a headwind angle here. I'm going to set up with the rock level 8 at plus 10, bullseye in the centre of the fairway, and before spin, you'll see the ball guide is pointing at the second of the 4 flags up ahead. So that's the second one from left to right. Then I'm switching to the APOC, 5.8 top spin and 2 bars side spin to the left. That is max top spin with APOC level 4 and 5. That's why I go with that amount. and then we're going to adjust max plus 10. The reason I set up with the rock and do a club switch is because I don't want to adjust into overpower, but I want to go with full overpower and have a slightly slower needle. Outer wall curl to the left, hit perfect with this slower needle, and away we go. I don't want to go with too much left spin, and the reason for that is you're not going to have a very clear shot to the pin. You're going to have the rough in the way. And as you can see here, we're just about okay. We could maybe reduce the left spin down to 1 bar, potentially. You have to see how you go during the week, but we're still absolutely fine here with the sniper for a shot at the eagle. I'm adding spin first, 4 back spin, 2 left spin. Then I'm going to set up with the ball guide pointing to the front edge of the cup, because there's a little bit of tailwind, so it will give us a bit more of a wind push. Plus 3 yards here. Again, I'm playing true club distance. More information on that on the Academy tutorials. Plus 3 is 9 yards away from max. In this case, that gives me 78% slider, 10% elevation, but power 2 settings is working for the adjustment here. Drops very, very nicely. I over adjusted with power 3, so second attempt, power 2 drops nicely there for the eagle. Any form of headwind, I would suggest really going with a berserker, to be quite honest, if you get predominantly headwind there, because you can still then play with a sniper for a go with the eagle rather than a big dog or cataclysm, which is much tougher to drop. Hole number 8 is a short par 3 from all 3 tees really, but it is tricky. There is no rough bump available here, so we're going to have to go with a backspin shot. Backspin amount will vary depending on the wind angle. I'm going with 4 backspin with almost direct headwind. You would need more if you had level crosswind or tailwind, of course. So adding spin, inner yellow ring touching the beginning of the fringe, second bounce just at the front edge of the cup. Then I shunt the aim over to the right, because if you just look at the wind arrow, it is a little bit right to left here, so I'm compensating a bit, aiming just to the right. You could offset it with side spin if you want to as well though. Maximum distance, 30% elevation. In crosswind you're going to need a lot more than that, because the second bounce is high with all that backspin. So in crosswind it's going to play around 50, maybe 55 or 60% elevation depending on your wind strength as well. We're close with this one, just needed a little tweak, but the speed's good, but if we just aimed a little bit more to the right, we'd have got that in for a hole in one. So it looks easy, this one, but it is actually a trickier one than you may think. Hole number 9, albatross to finish. Now, I'm using a luminary in the video here. You can use a berserker absolutely fine. Obviously, a little bit trickier on the approach because you'll have more adjusting to do. But we're going with 5.8 top spin, 2 right spin. Kingmaker or a Titan may work as well, but you would need to go with a lot. In fact, max overpower on your drive. So that's why I favour a power 5 ball if you want to go for the albatross. Max plus 10 is the adjustment, setting up at max distance with a power 5 ball, APOC 5 and above, pushing back up to max, going with 0.8 ball curl to the right, fraction of overpower, just the target there you can see starting to rumble around a little bit, hitting perfect. To really go for the albatross rough bump, you want to be having a drive of around 420 yards and above. Don't need to go ridiculously more than that. We're still going to be fine here. In fact, 415 may work as well. You'll see the plus yards on the next shot. I'm going to add spin first, 3.9 backspin, and then we're going to set up here with the inner ring touching the rough. That's because the adjustment is going to take me into the bunker, so I'm going to lose distance. If you don't adjust down into the bunker or the water, then I would go yellow ring touching the rough. Ball guide through the hole for this one. And for a +2 landing position here, that was my reference when dialing this one in for the playthrough. Medium distance, -5% elevation. Take care when adjusting into the bunker. It's a little bit stubborn to get your rings right. And the same if you're going to adjust off the bricks into the water. Just drag your target slowly there. It's a bit like some of those on the Centenary Harbour. Can be a little bit sluggish to adjust, but an accurate adjustment there, catching the rough beautifully, and we drop it for an albatross. Thank you very much for watching this video on the North Carolina 9-hole cup here on the channel. If you want more help and want to interact with loads of other Golf Clash players and myself over on our free Facebook group, please search for BK Golf Clash and hit the join button. Over 12,000 members there. Shot sharing, free guides, discussion points and more. So I look forward to seeing you over there. Good luck in the 9-hole cup and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Take care. Bye for now.